Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you for joining me today. So today we're going to be going over how you can fill your pipeline with call tracking and lead scoring. So this is going to be a really exciting day. And so let's go ahead and dive right in. So the first thing we want to go over is how call tracking works. So call tracking is really the process of using a phone number to find out, where that person came from. So if you have that phone number on your website, you have it in an ad, you have it in an email, right? You can know how they got your phone number or what email they're responding to and what this call is about or what they're looking for. And so a lot of companies will use multiple phone numbers, and a unique phone number and a different ad, different email in order to get that sort of tracking detail. Now, since we have all these services all in one in this platform, you can do some really cool things that you may not have seen before. And we're going to be going over some examples of that today. And so let's dive into the next slide. Now, why would you want to do call tracking and combine that with lead scoring? Well, it's going to give you a few opportunities. One, we're actually going to let the customer score themselves, right? So we know that they're going to be interested in a product or service, whatever it is that you're offering, based on their intent. Because if they clicked on a number in an email, right, we know that they're interested in that particular service and that particular email. So that's great. But this does the second thing, is it actually segments the customers automatically. So when a customer, let's say you're an agency and you offer 3 different services. You could be doing web design, you could be doing social media marketing, you could be doing something else. And you might send out different emails. Now, by having a call tracking phone number in that email, you actually know the specific service that the customer is calling about, which is really good. And we're going to use that to segment the customers. And we do that with tags. Next, we're going to use this call event to add the lead to the pipeline. So you can have someone on your team or even yourself, stay organized with all the leads and have them in your pipeline ready to be called. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And this is what we're going to be using today. So we're going to be using pipelines. We're going to be using 2 phone numbers because I got 2 emails that I want to track. We're going to be using the web phone, and we're going to be using an automation flow. And we're going to be using 2 different types of automation flows. We're going to be using a call flow and an email flow. And so now let's drag and drop and create this together. So I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go ahead and get this going. Right. Perfect. So I'm inside the system right now, and if you head over to the phone section, you're actually going to see that I already got a few numbers loaded up in here. So I have one phone number that's ringing to my web phone. It says web phone right here, and that's my extension number. So if you call that number, it's going to ring my web phone. This is the phone that pops out over here. And then I got 2 other phone numbers. Now, these are the 2 phone numbers I'm going to be using for the call tracking, so I can see what particular email a customer is responding to. And so let's go ahead and make a simple email flow really quick and to give you an idea. So I'm going to create a flow, and we're just going to click on select. And we can start by just adding an email, right? And I'm going to give this a subject, like we'll personalize this, and we'll put something in like, hi, customer first name, right? And we'll just put email 1, email service 1. Let's say this is from Mike, and we'll type in the email address, mike@demo. Perfect. Now in this email, when we launch the email editor, we're also going to personalize this message right here and say, hi, first name. We're going to say, I have a great service I want to offer. Right? And this is where we're going to use that call tracking phone number. And we're going to put the first phone number in here. I'm just going to put a placeholder. So we'll call this the first call tracking number. So we'll just say 111-1111. Right? And so this is a pretty standard, typical email. Very basic text email. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to save this. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to start connecting this. And so let's say you're doing an email advertising service 1, and then next you want to put in a wait. We're going to wait a day. Let's say wait 1 day. And next we want to advertise service 2. So I'm also going to use an email step for this. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to say hi, first name. Check out service 2. Help today. All right. We'll also say this is from, let's say this is from Joe. And Joe is sending this email now about service 2. And so again, we're going to customize this email. And we're going to say, hi, this is Joe. Call my direct line to talk about service number 2, right? And we're going to put our second call tracking number here. Thanks. Oh, I'll put in Joe. Thanks, Joe. All right, so now we have 2 different emails advertising 2 different services, and we're going to put 2 different phone numbers in here. So now if someone calls one of these phone numbers, we know what particular email they're responding to and what service that they're interested in. So I'm going to save this right here. And there we go. I'm going to give this a name. And we'll call this the email marketing flow. We got the first step down. Now I need to create a call flow. What's going to happen when someone calls those 2 phone numbers? Well, if I go to the phone section and I click on numbers, we're going to see nothing's going to happen, right? Because they're not hooked up to anything yet. So in order to hook that phone number up to a flow, I actually need to go into flows, and I'm going to create a new type of flow. This is going to be an incoming call flow. Now this one's really cool because different than the email flow, it's going to allow you to, dynamically route and control this phone call real time. And so the first thing I always like to do is, I'm a big fan of tags. Always tag everywhere you can, so you know everything about the customer. So we might tag this person as called, right? So they called. Great. Now next, let's say I want to do a condition. We can do a condition of if this person has an opportunity in the pipeline or not. So we can come into logic, and we'll do a condition. Perfect. And if you guys have any questions as we're going, feel free to just throw it in the chat. We're going to be answering this as we go. So now we're going to be looking for an opportunity in the pipeline. So we're going to say if they have a total count of opportunities, we'll just say greater than 0. That means they have at least 1 opportunity in the pipeline. So we got a cool condition right here. Now this is running real time when the call happens. So a call comes in. Now we got a condition. We're going to know, do they have an opportunity or not? And I can change the name of this. So we can say has opportunity. Save that. It has opportunity, yes or no. Now, if they already have an opportunity, we don't need to create a new one in the pipeline, but we can go ahead and increase their contact score. So I'm going to drag the contact score step, and we're going to say, let's increase the score by 10 up to 100. So now every time this customer calls, they get 10 extra points on their lead score. Now, if this is a new phone number that's not yet in the system, they're not going to have an opportunity in the pipeline. So they're going to go down this no branch. And so here, I might actually create a new pipeline item. So I can just search for create pipeline item. I'm going to drag this on here. And we can just say randomly select an assignee, or you can assign it to a specific user. And we'll give this a name like inbound call lead. Right, and so I got a new pipeline item we're going to create in here. So So I'll go ahead and click save. Perfect. So before the customer ever hears anything, when they call our phone number, they're going to immediately, a few things are going to happen, right? They're going to be tagged, we're going to increase their score, or we're going to create an opportunity in the pipeline. Next, I actually want to try to transfer this call to an agent. So I'm actually going to use the transfer call step, and it's going to say, please hold while I connect you now. You can change that message. We got some text to speech where you can upload a recording. Really easy to do that. You can even record an audio file in your browser. It's going to say, where do you want to transfer the call to? Now, you could key in another phone number here and just put in a cell phone number. I'm just going to have this ring my web phone, and I'm going to select no confirmation key required. Now, a lot of people ask about the confirmation key and ask, well, what is that? Well, imagine you're, at the beach drinking a margarita because you got your FlowTrack automation working for you, right? So you may not want to actually accept that call when you get it transferred. You want some sort of notice of who this call is, so you don't get that business call where you're at the beach. Well, that's what the confirmation key is for. It's going to allow you to, give you an option so you can push 1 to accept the call before the transfer actually goes through or not. So in this case, I'm not going to use that, but that's a very useful feature. So here we're just going to connect this. So no matter if this person is in the pipeline or not, right, we're going to transfer the call. And next we got a condition on if the call was transferred successfully or not. We can do 2 different things. So if it was transferred successfully, we're just going to hang up after the transfer is done. Now, if there wasn't an answer, we can actually put in a voicemail step. So we got capture, message, or voicemail. And so it's going to play this text to the user right here. Please leave a message after the beep. When you're done recording, press the pound key. So we can go ahead and click on that and just click save. And so we got a nice voicemail box. Now I'm going to connect this. So pretty simple flow. All right, we'll just go over it again. Lead comes in, they get tagged. We check if they have an opportunity or not. If they do, we're going to score the contact. If they don't, we're going to create a new item in the pipeline. Then we're going to try to transfer the call to a live person. If it was transferred successfully, that's the end of this flow. If it wasn't transferred successfully, they're going to get an opportunity to leave a voicemail. So pretty simple. So I'm going to go ahead and click save, and we'll call this the call flow. So now I got my call flow, and it says it's publishing, so it's going to take a few seconds to go live. But now we can actually go into my phone number, and when we edit the phone number, we can associate this phone number to the call flow. So when someone calls this phone number, right, we're going to send them to the call flow. Go ahead and click save. And we're good to go. And so you can see this is hooked up to the call flow because that's the, says it right next to it. And so I can do the same thing with this other number. And I'm going to use, both of these numbers to determine, which service the customer is interested in. So let's go back into that flow, for example. So you saw in the first step in the flow, I used a tag as called. But in here, I could say service 1. So I know that this person called asking about service 1. And so I'll save that again, click publish, and now we're good to go. So I got my phone number right here. I'm going to copy that phone number. I'm going to go back into the email marketing flow. Right? I just put a placeholder in the email before, right? So it's this phone number right here. I can actually paste that number. Let's see. Paste the number right in here. And there we go. Now, if someone calls that number, it's going to automatically run that flow. So that's how easy it is to use call tracking and lead scoring and use it in a way that's going to automatically categorize and score the leads based on the user's intent. And so again, this is going to be a great way if you're a company that offers multiple services or multiple products, and you're going to really just let the customers decide what they're most interested in. And so I would actually repeat this process twice because we want a different tag for each phone number. So I got the first phone number in the first email, and I would put a second phone number in the second email. And that's really it. That's as easy as it is. So now I'm going to start diving into some of the questions. So we got a question from Donna. She says, can you port a number from Google Voice? Absolutely. So we have a super easy port process in here. All you got to do is click this button that says port your phone number, and it's going to ask you some information, everything from your name and address, and your billing statement, your account number and other details. Just follow this little wizard, and it's going to go through and complete the port process for you. So that's that. You also have the ability, if you didn't want to port your phone number yet, we have something called verified caller ID. Now, this is really cool because it gives you the ability to use your own phone number, your cell phone number, your business phone number. You can use this as caller ID in FlowTrack. So that's what people are going to see when you call them, just by getting a SMS verification code. So we got to verify your phone number. After it's verified, you can then use that in there. Now, you can't use that for SMS. The verified caller ID is just for the outbound calls, but a great way to use your phone number also without porting. So you can do it either way. So that is the way that you go ahead and set up this automation flow. If there's any more questions from the community, we can go ahead and go over that now. But that's a very simple way on how you can use automation flows, call flows, email flows, and call tracking to automatically score and categorize your leads. And the best part is now that your leads are all categorized or segmented and they're tagged, right? You can do additional remarketing campaigns using those tags. So back inside FlowTrack, right, when you're going to be in your database, every time you get a call, they're going to be automatically categorized, and you're going to be using these tags in here to filter your different customers and market to them individually. Now, there actually is one tip I forgot to share with you guys that's super important. The secret to using call tracking phone numbers is actually to use toll-free numbers. Now, the benefit to a toll-free number is your caller ID is unmasked. So if you have a customer calling you from a private number, right, their caller ID is hidden, toll-free numbers automatically unmask the caller ID, so you're going to always know who you're speaking with. Now, if you didn't use a toll-free number in your flow, then you may not be able to know who that customer is. And then the lead scoring wouldn't always work, right? It'll work a certain percentage of the time, only when people don't have their caller ID hidden. So definitely a trick I would say to use is to use the toll-free numbers. But then you also want to make that look personal. So if you're sending out an email saying, call this phone number, you might say something like, this is my direct line, and then you can put the toll-free number in there. So you can, people realize that goes to an actual person. So I'm going to go back into the questions, and we got another question from Phoenix. Can you send a lead from the website widget directly into a flow? Yes, you can. So we can cover that definitely in another video, but essentially just like I hooked up a phone number to a flow, forms can also be hooked up to a flow. So inside your database, every form triggers a flow, and by default, there's going to be nothing there. You got to create one. So you're just going to click on this add new button, and that's going to be how you can hook up that form to a flow. So every time someone fills out your form, the same type of flow runs. Now, the best part is, the flow designer is the same no matter if you're designing for phone calls or emails or form automation, any type of automation, it's the same flow designer. So once you master this once, you're going to be a pro with, every service that's in here. We got another question here. What's the best way to keep bots from filling out your form? the rest of the questions cut off, but best way to keep bots from filling out your form. So definitely speak with support and we can help you out with that. We have a very cool system with our forms. Our forms are rendered dynamically, and that actually makes it a lot harder for bots to ever fill out your form. So that's going to be something that's unique to this system, since everything's dynamic. Even the form that you build is dynamic, right? Everyone builds a different form, different fields, different field names, and that's going to be very different to using a system like WordPress, where everyone has a contact form and it all has the same format and same fields. So definitely talk to support and we can help you out with that one. And all right, well, if we don't have any more questions, that wraps it up today. And stay tuned for a lot more great videos to come. Thank you.